Fantastic. How are you all doing?
Great.
I can't believe you said the real keynote speaker. So I'm still in shock about that. Sounds so hard. Because I've been a humbling fan for many years, and it really is my honor and privilege to talk with you today about a journey that we're on at Microsoft, and I know a lot of you are similarly on. It's a journey without having reached its goal. I think we've got one heck of a lot of work to do. But I want to share with you a little bit about what we've learned so far and how we're getting to, hopefully, something of a destination, which I love the goal that has just been set. So before I dig into the details, let me first talk to two pieces of data that really grounds us in our approach. The first is, and as we move slides, which technically will happen by magic, I think. Ha! So I saw that magic, it was the hand moving. So if I go to the next slide, and I just talk through two pieces of data that really, really are grounding to us. One comes from the World Health Organization. And I look back at previous definitions of disability, and most of you know this, you're all in here for a reason. Disability was something that was broken. It was something that was impaired. And this was a previous definition back in the 1980s. It was a part of the individual, a part of the human. It was a derogatory term in some ways. And I absolutely adore the fact that it got changed. And it got changed to this rightful new definition at the bottom of the page, which is a mishmash between the individual and the environment in which they're in. That is huge. It's not about something being broken or impaired. It's about the opportunity that we have to empower. And empower someone in that room, in the environment in which they're in. And then if you look at the next slide, and the modern world, and this is actually a picture of a guy on my team called Nick Hayes, and we all think he is just the coolest dude in the world. He seriously does look, he's an African-American guy who emigrated over here, speaks 5 languages, and works on my website accessibility team, and he's blind. We put him up because he really does reflect part of this modern world. The modern world of disability is big, as we all know. It's 1 billion plus in the world. It transcends multiple different areas. There's 6 that we look at, and we all have our own pivot. We look at deafness, blindness, mobility, speech, cognitive, which is clearly one of the biggest growing segments, and of course mental health. It impacts all of us at some point in our lives, and is definitely associated with age. If you're not with us now, you probably will be. Welcome. So if we go to the next and I look at the journey that we're on. I joined Microsoft in 2005 in London. I joined to solve problems, technical problems. I am a class 1 nerd and very proud of that. Nerd being a very nice complimentary term, if that's okay. I didn't join to do this job. I joined in London and very quickly found there was one significant thing that I didn't think would happen when I joined, is that I imagined that at Microsoft no one would really speak to one another. They would email, right? I found that was really wrong. Sitting in an international office, the one thing that everyone wanted to do was talk. And that's how I got into this, was I joined the deaf room at Microsoft, which we call Huddle, which is actually a term that comes from Gallaudet. It's a football term. And those groups, there were 6 when I joined, and they have been, some of them have been going for nearly 20 years. Groups of employees at Microsoft coming together to talk about how to work with your manager, how to self-identify, aren't we a technology company? Shouldn't we be doing something crazy in this space? And then when I dug into the history on accessibility, Bill Gates, heard of him? Right, you're going to have to know about people. Bill Gates actually started our accessibility initiative 20 years ago, in 1997. And we've had people that have been really attached to that since that time. And in that time, we've had moments of brilliance. Sticky keys. Who knows sticky keys? That annoying pop-up. But it's very, very valuable to people with mobility and dexterity who need it. But that came in 1994. We've also had moments of ugliness where we didn't do the right thing in empowering our customers with the technology that we provided. So 2 years ago, we rebooted. And we took a very conscious decision to really reinvest and restart the journey that we were on, to live into the mission of the company that our new CEO, Satya Nadella, had set, which is to empower every person and every organization to achieve more. And Satya has so much passion for this space as a parent, and he was the executive sponsor of our disability group. So we resourced this in a different way, and we set about to achieve 4 things. And the first one of those was really about culture. How do you talk and build accessible products if you don't have disability in the core fabric of your culture? So we went and we've been doing this for years, but we really put a lot more energy into bringing talent into the company. And this is a picture of 9 amazing colleagues of mine back at base, but there's a lot more. And it's not in one of those buckets, in all of those buckets. And I'll talk to some of how these guys have been able to create success by coming in. But first, let me show you a little video about one project that I'm quite passionate about.
A man enters the lobby of an office building.
When I was diagnosed with autism, the psychologist explained it like there were very limited career capacity for me.
Before I came to Microsoft, I was struggling to get employment, and I had these skills in math, but nobody was giving me interviews, and it didn't seem to be going well. I worked a couple of minimum wage jobs. It was work, it paid the bills, but I definitely could feel that I was destined for something more.
I feel like I get to have a pretty significant impact on Microsoft.
By having people with disabilities in the fabric of our company, you're building in a diverse workforce that then represents the 1 billion people with disabilities out there. We're going to be building better products, we're going to be building better services, websites, anything that we do will work across the spectrum of being human.
And so every time we get an opportunity to bring somebody in who can see things from a different angle, every time that happens, that's where we find these great creative types who can come in and help us deliver the things that we care about.
Microsoft started the Autism Hiring Program to find candidates in a non-traditional way, based on their unique talents.
I'm Cody Sakayoshi, and I'm a software engineer at Xbox Live.
My name is Joey Chenlis, and I'm a data scientist here at Microsoft.
MJ Gardner, software engineer on Azure build pipelines and engineering systems.
There is just an incredibly high unemployment and underemployment rate when it comes to autism. Our traditional hiring process, that's not going to allow someone with autism to show up and show their strengths.
Since 2015, talented individuals through the Autism Hiring Program have landed full-time jobs across the company.
For me, the Autism Hiring Program was the chance to finally, make it. You're saying, here's the things that come with autism that the standard interview process would flag. Here's how we accommodate those issues and make them less of an issue. And here's how we allow the person to really shine and show their true colors and abilities.
I think this is just a better way of evaluating. This is just probably a better way for anyone.
With Jenny Lay-Flurrie, Chief Accessibility Officer.
People are looking for companies that reflect humanity. There is incredible talent out there in the marketplace that should be in our company.
This program has given me a mirror to reflect on, and the things that make me different, or how could I maybe change the way that I work in order to bring some of these experiences forward.
My hope for the future is that we won't see this as a program, but instead a natural way to recruit key talent in our organizations.
So if I was talking to a younger version of myself, I would let myself know that you're going to do really cool things and that you're going to major in math, you're going to really love it, and that you're going to end up getting a really cool job at Microsoft that you just enjoy. The people, the work, the type of problems that are being solved.
So to be here is just really cool. I'm very proud of where I am.
Microsoft logo. Visit Microsoft.com/inclusive hiring or email us at msautism@microsoft.com.
You don't have to be British to work at Microsoft, but it definitely helps. Let me give you a quick sense of the other three buckets. And you know, we set out, we've been learning a lot, right, of what works and what doesn't. But these are three pillars that we firmly believe once you start to get that base in place. The first is transparency and accountability, making your information accessible. One of the biggest learnings that I think I've had as I get out and about is that people don't know where to find information about your hiring programs, and for Microsoft about our products, what's in our products that could help you regardless of what disability it is or what combination, because disability doesn't often come on its own. And so we need to do a better job of really making that information more visible. So for us, that meant that we put out a new website, Microsoft.com/accessibility, which is clearly accessible, right? There would be irony if it was not, right? But you really have to check it. If there's one thing, and you take one thing away from what I've said, if you don't know if your website, if your document is accessible, it's not, right? So check it. We put all of our information on the hiring site, a brand new site. So that video and many others, some wonderful videos, are some of the people that I showed earlier are on that site. And also, we put up, actually just 2 weeks ago, a brand new resource guide. It's in a sway. If you don't know what sway is, we like to sway. At Microsoft, it's a funky way of showing a document. It's also very accessible. And we put all of our best practices online. Because we believe that we can't change an unemployment rate on our own, and we also can't learn everything we need to learn on our own. We want to share it and hear from you what you're learning, so we can build this repository of data and information. The third, it's really then how you leverage your talent. And we are nerds. So leveraging talent for us means that we start building and taking experiences regardless of what role that individual has in the company. And I just want to give you a sniff of some of the cool, wicked features that are now in our products because of the talent that we have. So the first is PowerPoint Designer. All right, PowerPoint, who's heard of PowerPoint? Come on. Right. Well, when you build a slide, and this is a little GIF that shows it. When you build a slide, you import a picture, you fiddle with it, you make it big, you make it small, you do lots of stuff. Good luck. I'm challenging the interpreter. I always do. But you do a lot to manipulate that picture. It's multiple clicks. That's not good for someone with mobility and dexterity. And so one of the things that we really did was make it so that it's one click. You import the picture, options come down the right-hand side, you pick the one that's good for you, and they are professionally built. No more clicking. Right? The next one is Translator. This is I love this thing. The power of AI, artificial intelligence, is now getting to the point where we can caption, we can provide captions, and they're really good quality. They will never replace the need for the experts here. And for CART, they will never replace that. But with about 4% to 10% differential, they're about to be reliable. So there's an add-in you can put into PowerPoint, and if you might, the captions will come up at the bottom of the screen. Automatic captions. This was the biggest request from our deaf community. The next one, and these two are my last two here, but know that there's a lot more, is that we had our Windows. Who's heard of Windows? I'm not going to do that. You've heard of Windows, right? There were two things in Windows. Both of them have very long stories behind them. But 2 weeks ago, as we launched the Fall Creators Update, which is our biannual our second release of Windows this year. It's just an update that goes on to Windows 10. Don't panic, there's no upgrade needed. There's two features in here that are breakthrough for us, and we're very excited about. One of them is that we put color blindness features, and color spelled wrong there, there should be a U in color, so forgive me. But there are now 3 color blindness filters built into the fabric of Windows, right? So if you have color blindness, which is what, 1 in 9, mostly men, you can now just add that filter and see Windows in a very different way. And the other one is eye control. This is a beta feature, which means that it's new, and we're learning a lot, but it came off the back of a very long story and a long relationship that we have with a guy in Louisiana called Steve Gleason, who has ALS and a Washington native. And this feature gives you the ability with a about $150 device to be able to move Windows mouse and type using just your eyes. No hands. Built in. Kind of fun, right? Like it? Yes. Talent that built it. Talent that generated the ideas. The last big pillar, again, because of the culture and the fabric of who we are, and then I'm hoping that we have time for some questions, it's really how we invest in the future. One of the biggest things that motivates us, we're 110,000 around the world, is innovation. And so there's been multiple projects that are looking at completely re-energizing and empowering people with disabilities in a way that will empower not only the individual, but frankly build stuff that all of us can benefit from in time. And also representing disability as we look at all of our products. So up here we have one of our new avatars. We have several avatars. Who's a gamer? Me either. But my kid is. And now we have avatars that use wheelchairs, we have avatars with prosthetics, and there's more in development. You can find an individual that matches you. In the top right, we have a picture of a project in the UK, which is called Torino. And this is in trial right now, and it is teaching kids who are blind how to code with little 3D hardware objects that make music when you plug them up together. The simplest, most beautiful thing. But man, we love it. And the last I'll call out is Project Emma. Again, this one came out of the UK again. You do not have to be British. We just find that the cool things come from there. But Project Emma is one that's early. But Emma is a graphic designer in her 20s now, early 30s, who has Parkinson's. We have designed a watch. And that watch enables her to draw, despite her tremors. So as I wrap up and hopefully get some questions, my key takeaway and my key learning from this journey so far is that we've proven our hypothesis. If you have people with disabilities in the culture and the fabric of your company empowered to give their voice, you have mechanisms to hear that voice. You have mechanisms to hear from your customers and to get that gold dust feedback. You can deliver not just great things, but amazing things. And that's why we believe that together, with the power of technology, we can empower and hopefully change an unemployment rate. Thank you.
We've got people with microphones that can run around. If you're interested in asking a question, please raise your hand or in another way make yourself known. And